I was born here, in the small village of Talipale, located 15 kilometers from the city centre of Jaffna, in northern Sri Lanka. This region was the backdrop of a 25-year war, where many atrocities were committed. The proximity of Talipale town to the railway line and the airport made it a strategic location, and as a result it was often caught in the crossfire of many fierce battles. As a child, my mother sheltered herself and me from one such battle in this house. It was once my father's childhood home, but it now lays in ruins, overgrown with weeds and a caved-in roof. The neighbours' houses are in a similar condition, with scars of shrapnel and bullet holes marking the walls. The rest of the village is the same, laying in ruins with many of the original inhabitants fleeing as refugees. Down the road from my father's home is a school that seemingly lays untouched by the war. A school where my father and my uncles had studied, and where my grandfather had taught. A school where I would have attended had I not fled to Australia. This year, in 2016, marks the 200-year anniversary of the founding of the school, making it the oldest school in the region and one of the oldest schools in Sri Lanka. It had humble beginnings as an American missionary school, with the original intention to spread the word of the Christian gospel. The missionaries also brought with them the English language and a Western education. This had the unintended consequence of sparking a period of enlightenment for the region and its people. Shortly after Union College's foundation, other Protestant schools were built. Over the next 20 years, another 8 schools were established. By the 1900s, this number had reached 20. The rise in school numbers was initially started by the concentration of efficient Protestant mission schools. It produced a revival movement among the local Hindus, who responded by building many more schools within the Jaffna Peninsula. Local Catholics too started their own schools as a countermeasure. The state also had its share of primary and secondary schools. Thus saturated with educational opportunities, many Tamils became literate. This was used by the British colonial government to hire Tamils as civil servants in the British-held Ceylon, India, Malaysia and Singapore. By the time Sri Lanka became independent in 1948, about 60% of government jobs were held by Tamils, who hardly formed 15% of the population. The popularly elected leaders of the country saw this outcome as a strategy by the British to control the majority Sinhalese that needed to be redressed. These measures deteriorated the already frail political relationship between the communities, and many experts believe it is one of the main causes of the Sri Lankan Civil War. After a 25-year civil war, Union College looks unscathed because of the immediate rebuilding effort that has taken place. Financed from the alumni that reside overseas, it has been recognised that this educational institute allowed them the liberty to flee their war-torn country. An English education gave them the opportunities not afforded to the Tamils in the other regions. This is an opportunity they wish to pass on to the new generation, so that Jaffna can have a bright future ahead of it.